I'm Tangelica Cox. I had the pleasure of speaking with Taalik, Ibn'rad, and he has a movement slash ministry by the name of the Reality Temple on Earth. And I had the pleasure of speaking with him for several hours today. And I think it's only fair that I do a reaction video to the conversation. And the conversation was on various topics, which was basically centered around African quote-unquote consciousness. And he was a real deep brother, very down to earth, very approachable. He didn't carry himself like a know-it-all. Someone you could talk to and really listen to you. It was such an honor to finally meet somebody over the internet that has a ear to listen, and not only an ear to listen, but will take full action on what they stand for. And I appreciated having that conversation with you, and I do look forward to working with you.
Woo, man. It was very difficult getting through the opening of this show. I guess you could call it a show, program, because the subject is very funny when you think about it. But unfortunately, it's our reality, and it's something that we have to deal with. What brings me to this particular subject matter is I posted a video that nobody listens to, like I always do, and someone left a comment. I guess they didn't really listen to the video. They saw my face. I don't know whether or not they listened to the video or not. They just saw my face and they left a comment, so clearly they know who I am. And they said, "Isn't that Agent Snup or whatever, Angel?" They didn't, they on purpose did not, write my name the way it's supposed to be. Y'all something else. When you dislike somebody, you don't agree with somebody, you guys really, you're so childish. Black Power family. Then you want somebody to take you so serious. Black Power family, Pan-Africanism. And I'm telling you, you're some of the most childish and infantile acting persons that anybody ever would interact with. But this is expected. Our elder, Sister Frances Cress Welsing, may the ancestors be pleased with her and she rest in peace. I much honor and respect to my elder, Dr. and Sister Frances Cress Welsing, but she wrote and made very clear that the so-called black man black people, black women, African Americans, however you want to call yourself, these who are the descendants of slaves, having dark skin, born in America, we have a very childish mentality. We don't behave like adults. We have, of course, the physical body, but we are very, very far away from being an adult. And we have never, I want y'all to listen now, and the reason for that is we've never had to behave like an adult. A slave does not have to be an adult because you are fed, you are clothed, even your thinking is given to you by your slave master. So we still have that mentality, except now, of course, when you become black power, you don't really like your pink slave master no more, although he or she, they still control us. So whether you like it or not, you are still under the jurisdiction of Caucasian people. And it makes you feel better when you embrace a new slave master that has a black face that promotes dark skin, and you feel better with that master because he black like you. I myself, I prefer not to have a slave master that looks like me or some mysterious God being. I don't want a slave master at all. I'd rather not exist. But for some of you, you want to be somebody's servant. You want to be somebody's slave. Well, that's good for you. So with that mentality, I don't understand why you're so upset and have a problem with racism when the only thing you are doing and you promote is nothing but a colored black version, a cousin, a brother, or a clone of racism that you have embraced and you have colored it black. Simple as that. And many of these childish thinking persons don't like to hear things like that. And so someone like me who brings us the reality of our situation, just like a Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., of whom I believe is a great influence upon Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, but they will talk more about Dr. Welsing than Neely Fuller Jr. because Neely Fuller Jr. is not about black power, black this and black that. You must understand racism, and y'all don't understand racism because if you don't understand racism, it causes more and more confusion. And then when you look at the so-called black conscious community, that's all you see is confusion because they really don't understand what has happened to us as a people. We act upon emotion, and emotion is not going to get you free or liberated. So keep trying that. There was something that Sarah Palin said in making reference to Obama, and she was talking to those who supported Obama. She said, how is that changey thing doing for you? You know, how's it doing? You know, how has it treated you lately? That changey thing. And I would say, and using the same words in a different context, say to this black conscious community, you have your African power and your black power. How is that African black power thing? How is it, what is it doing for you? You keep screaming that over and over again till you're black in the face, and what are you gaining? How's that working out for you? And that's why they become so angry at me. Gonna call me an agent, call me a spy. Now, this goes to show you how silly these people are. Agents and spies, they hide. They try to look like you. They want to talk like you. They try to blend and want to be like you so they can infiltrate you, so they can destroy you. How can I destroy you when I'm different from you? You don't like what I have to say. So I can't be an agent. I can't be a spy. I cannot get among you because I'm not like you. You're stupid and it was mind-boggling. Y'all, woo. I'm an agent and a spy because you simply don't like what I say. That's a personal problem. Malcolm X had agents and spies. A spy was right up under Malcolm, and Malcolm never knew. The Black Panthers had spies and agents among them, and they never knew who was who. The Nation of Islam, Marcus Garvey, and we could go on and on, Dr. King. They had agents and spies among them, and they never knew. But here you are. And there were many people who disagreed with what they represented or what they taught. And I never heard Malcolm call that person who disagreed with him or didn't like him, he's a spy. I never heard the Black Panthers said because somebody was black and didn't like their curriculum, their agenda, they a spy. Because they understood exactly what that is and who these people were. They were among them, smiling, skinning, and grinning. It's hard to detect a spy. It's hard to detect a hypocrite because a hypocrite is trying to look like you and act like you. But when it's all said and done, the job of the agent and the spy is to destroy you. I'm not looking to destroy you. I'm not looking to bring you any kind of harm unless revelation bringing us truth causes harm. How is bringing truth causing us harm? How is asking questions? Your problem is you cannot answer the questions that I bring because my questions and what I bring is reality and you're living in a fantasy and delusions. And so you get angry and you hope that everybody becomes robotic like you are. The reason why these teachings and this rhetoric is easily sold to black people is because we still have a slave mentality. The only thing you have done is change slave masters. So now my massa is Elijah Muhammad. Now my massa is polite. Now my massa is Sanetta. Now my massa is Louis Farrakhan. The only thing you have done is change your slave massa. You still have a slave mind. And what did I just say earlier in this video? When you are a slave, you don't have to think. Brother Polite does your thinking for you. Louis Farrakhan does your thinking for you. Sarah Sutanseti does your thinking for you. Sanetta and Black News 102 does your thinking. Tommy Sotomayor does your thinking for you. You can't think for yourself because you still have a slave mind. You are robotic. And you can't, and as a slave, you can't be programmed for everything. So when somebody like me approaches you and you don't have the answers because you have not been programmed, then you get angry and upset. You're an agent and you're a spy. Okay, I want to be very, very serious, and I also would like to be very, very sincere. I want to speak to those who advocate Kemetic teachings, those who believe in, I guess, this science of Egyptology. I don't know exactly how it's called. I guess it's it all falls under Kemetic teaching. Kemet is the original name of Egypt. I believe that's how it goes. So I would like to, I'm tongue-tied. I guess because I'm trying to do videos and I really don't feel like speaking, but I want to talk. You know, you have those days like that. I have been in this struggle called Black liberation. I could be called awaken, being Black conscious, so to speak. I was introduced to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad when I was 8 or 9 years old. And when I was a teenager, I actually joined the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And this has been a very long time. And within this time period, I have also known have been introduced to other doctrines and beliefs. Of course, Christianity, most of us, we began our origins, come from up out of the Christian church, being a Baptist, a Holy Roller, a Pentecostal. I think Pentecostal and Holy Roller, that's the same thing, you know, Jehovah's Witness, you know, things of that nature. I was also introduced to the Hebrew Israelite nation, Yahweh ben Yahweh, the Moorish Science Temple. But it wasn't until recently, also, you know, I must also add Afrocentric ideology, which could bounce back and forth, Kwanzaa and things of that nature. I know about all these different things. However, it was in the late 2000, I believe, that I was first introduced and learned of Kemetic teachings. And the first person I ever heard speak that way was Pastor Ray Hagins. In fact, oh man, I'm so tongue-tied today. What's up with that? If it was not for listening to the words of Pastor Ray Hagins, this ministry that I call the Realities Temple on Earth, it probably would not exist. It was many things that I heard from Pastor Ray Hagins that caused me to think seriously, caused me to re-examine everything that I had been taught since I was 8 or 9 years old. It also caused me to question Pastor Ray Hagins. So Kemetic teachings is new to me, and I sincerely want to learn more. I want to learn, get more in depth into Kemetic teachings. I have listened and have DVDs and have talked personally to Pastor Ray Hagins. And I have went to his African village and participated in the rituals that they practice. And at the end of his lecture, and we talk, and he has people to go and meet him, and he wishes to place myrrh on your forehead. You know, myrrh is an Egyptian, I guess it's an Egyptian perfume or something to that nature or whatever, and you walk and you greet Pastor Hagins, and You know, that sort of reminds me of Christianity, because they do the same thing in Christianity. When you walk up to the pastor at the end of the meetings, and the pastor take out this bottle of oil. Usually it's Western oil, the same oil that they use to fry chicken in, I guess. And they put that oil, anoint you with oil on your head. So I would guess in Kemetic teachings, they would say that the Christians stole that from the Egyptians. What is the purpose of putting some oil on somebody's head unless you ashy in the forehead? I don't I don't get it. My first introduction to Kemetic teachings, also I have listened to the General Sarah Sutton Seti. And I love to listen to both of these men, Pastor Hagins and Sarah Sutton Seti. But again, many questions arise, and those questions, in order for me to embrace those things, because once I embrace it, I am, I'm down with you. But it's very difficult to embrace that which I question, and there's something because I want to defend it. I want to promote it. I want to give it my 1,000%. But if I'm not feeling it, it's very difficult to do that. I first learned of Egypt back when I was a child. I was given the a four encyclopedia set from Ebony magazine. And Ebony encyclopedia starts Black history with Egypt. That's well and good. Okay, that's nice. And we were kings and queens, and this is where we come from. And many of you get so proud to say those things. But is that really a reality? Now, I don't know a lot of history. And like I said, you guys, brothers and sisters, y'all can teach me a little something. But I am going to ask my questions. I'm going to inquire. And most of you can't handle being questioned. You can't handle inquiry. You expect somebody to just accept what you're talking about on face value. I don't do that. I have a brain. My brain don't accept things on face value. I don't just hear people. I listen to you. And there's a difference between hearing. This is hearing. You know that I clap. But listening is, you can tell what fingers actually hit one another and how the air escapes the palms and all these different things. You're listening to what is going on, not just hearing the sound. I don't remember learning in history that slaves came from Egypt to America. I don't know where that's at. I thought that all the slaves that came to America basically came from the islands or the West African coast. It would be a very long journey to get slaves all the way from Egypt, since Egypt is northeast. They did not have railroad and airplanes and things of that nature during that period of time. Those people, how many more would die trying to get Africans from the northeast to the west coast, where that was the point where most slaves were taken from. It just don't make any sense. And if we are Egyptian, then, that's nothing but a country. That's a country, just like you say you're Americans. This is nothing but a place where somebody named it. It's just a place. Egypt is a place. Anyway, those people no longer exist. We have an idea of what they look like, but they no longer exist. I want to say this to us, and this is why a lot of the things that we embrace, it just don't make any sense. The original black man is black. Okay, that's fine and good. It's possible. Okay, we accept that the original man is black. However, from that one species, from that one original being, as time goes on, you evolve and you stretch out and it evolves to other species. So yes, the original man could be black, but that don't mean that's you. You have black birds, and I'm very sure there was an original blackbird, but now you have different varieties and species of blackbirds, and you cannot, and if you don't belong in that particular species, how can you claim its history? How can you claim Egyptian history when you're not of that species? You have nothing to do with that. They are extinct. Your history, we were made lost, deaf, dumb, and blind. If you were lost, how do you know that you came from Egypt? You're trying to find yourself. If you're trying to find yourself and that's where you come from, why aren't you going back? Where's the connection? Where's the direct connection between you and that place that you became lost from? Y'all don't really explain that. You tripping off the greatness of Egypt, and you want to be part of that because in America we've been made inferior and we are viewed as nothing but slaves offering nothing. But this is Black History Month. Why don't you check out what a slave have accomplished in this nation? I never seen Egyptians riding around in cars. They were still on camels. I don't see them wearing Jordan shoes. It was a black man that invented the shoemaking machine and the light bulb. A lot of our ideas were stolen. You know that. Egyptian this, Egyptian that. Then you call yourself gods and queen. God of what? Queen and king of what nation? African, you want to claim the whole continent. It don't, the whole thing, a lot of stuff don't make any sense. And they don't claim you. That's the sad thing about it. There's nobody running around trying to get in your bed, but you're trying to do your best. Talk about them. You want to get in their bed. That's why you claim Egyptians. You don't claim living Africans because they won't claim you. They're not embracing you, and you know that. So you'll deal with fictional Africans and ancient people that no longer exist. And that's my problem with Kemetic teaching. They never, where are you getting this stuff from? I'm very sure just the title of this video makes some people very angry and upset. And they will call somebody like me an agent, an integrational, how you say that? Integrationalist, or however you say that, you know, some dumb stuff. Y'all stupid. You really are ignorant. You emotional, and you have no idea of what you're doing. That's why you're not getting anywhere. And when somebody is talking sense, you ignore them because you're so full of delusions and fairy tales in your mind. You don't really understand the situation that we are in. The Honorable Brother Minister Malcolm X and y'all quote him all the time. He said in one of his famous speeches, by any means necessary. And when you hear him say, by any means necessary, the first thing coming in your mind is picking up guns and grenades and by any means necessary and killing Whitey and all this other crazy stuff. But that is not necessarily so, because we are in no position, and Malcolm knew at that time we are in no position and do not have the means to take on an enemy directly face to face. First of all, you do not have the support of your people. Many black folks will take guns, they will take those grenades, and they will join your enemy, the Caucasian racist people, and they will hunt you down and they will kill you by the thousands if necessary, and be proud of it. Terrorists. So we need to stop thinking insane. By any means necessary. It is a fact. And if you want to make any kind of headway in the struggle, you're going to need the help and the aid of Caucasian people, whether you like it or not. That's just the reality. In fact, you're doing it right now. The water you drink, whether it comes from a bottle or straight from the tap, you're getting it through them. Your paper, your pen, and everything that you have, directly or indirectly, comes from them. So we need to stop this nonsense. And you really should stop talking about kill the cracker, and if you kill him, what's going to happen to you? You don't know how to produce nothing for yourself. You can't do nothing. You're in no position. Kill the cracker and you're going to die right along with him. That's the bottom line. So we really need to stop that nonsense and begin to think with wisdom. As Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. says, you have to understand the situation that you're in. Otherwise, if you don't, it just makes your situation worse. By any means necessary. There are those of us, you have been incarcerated. I'm not talking about a traffic ticket and spending 2 days in jail or a week or something like that. I mean, you have spent some time incarcerated. Unfortunately for myself, I have been incarcerated. And those of you who have been incarcerated, you will understand exactly where I'm coming from. Those who do not or have never been incarcerated really don't understand. So I don't see how they can function when we are an incarcerated people. We are a people institutionalized. In our case, we have never been free. So how do you want, and why do you have this desire to be free and you never have experienced it? That's why you're not free. You don't have the drive to do what needs to be done. Because how can you miss what you never had? So you can take your time and play on social media and play these silly games and debates and all this stuff because you're really not interested in freedom, because you can't miss what you never had. However, when we were incarcerated and you really wanted to get free, your desire to get free was because you knew what it was to be free. Then there are those who have been locked up for so long, they become institutionalized. And they just accept the life that they have lived. And they do have a desire, but there is a real fear to be free. What I'm going to do if they let me go. When you're talking about freedom, by any means necessary, When you're talking about incarceration, you have two options: the illegal way and the legal way. What happens when we do it the illegal way? Our example are those three guys that just escaped from jail, and within a week or two, they are right back in jail. What was the benefit? What was the purpose? Why did you go through all that? Why did you go through all that just so they can catch you and take you back? And you couldn't handle uh, trying to survive on the streets, and and you was always watching over your shoulder. What kind of life is that? I mean, what was the benefit? Then you have the so-called legal way, and then your oppressor allows you to leave your jail, leave your prison, and they still might watch you, but you don't have to watch your back like that no more. And that's what we're trying to do. We want to move in a manner where you don't have to watch your back, and when you get free, there is benefit to you. There's no benefit to jumping the fence, going through all that problem. You said, brother, we have to trust. I did not say trust Caucasian people. I say you need them. You need their assistance. You have to go through them. And we call them snakes. Some of us call them devils. Let's use the example, call them snakes. But when you know what you're doing, see, that's it. When you are incarcerated, when you are in a situation like we do, you don't have no weapon. So what is the only tool that we have? The ability to use your brain. Some of you can't do that. That's why you have problems. So I'm looking at a snake, and I know that this is a snake. If I'm using my brain, what does my brain tell me to do? Well, my brain tells me that a snake can be used for food. It can. It can poison you, but also you can take a snake, and if you know how to take the poison, you can make an anti-venom that can save the life of somebody who has been bitten by a snake. Oh, wow. And if you really get good, if you know how to play the right tune, you can train a snake. You ever see those guys with the little flute? They make the snake, train the snake. So when I was locked up, I knew I wasn't going to get any help from black people. So I had to turn to the ones that oppress me or look like the ones that oppress me by any means necessary. So I went to the ones that oppressed me, and I kept asking certain questions and picking their brain so I can learn. Understand, like Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. said, understand the situation that I was in. And I wasn't running around talking about the white man is a snake and the white man is a devil. I treated a person like I want to be treated. And there was a Caucasian woman that I befriended. And the reason why I know Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, because this Caucasian lady who was a student in college, she was taking law and African studies. She gave me law books, and she gave me the ISIS papers along with other black books, by black authors. But if I was running around calling her, "You're a devil and I want all the crackers dead," and all that crazy, unnecessary stuff, I would never have gotten her help. And with her help, I learned the law. With her help, I learned about Dr. Cress Welsing and the wonderful things that she was saying. You're not, and I'm not going to get the assistance from the 40 to 70 million black people in this nation. It's not going to happen. So you must depend on yourself and our limited resources, and you can use those resources to the best of your ability by learning how to interact with Caucasian people. You're going to have to do it whether you like it or not. You got to go through them. Also, it is unjust and it's not fair to put everybody in this one melting pot. Because even within slavery, all Caucasian people did not support slavery. Many Caucasian people even participated in the Underground Railroad and did whatever little that they could do. But they could be murdered. They could be killed by those who were living that type of lifestyle. That was legal in this nation by this government. So, by any means necessary, that is beneficial to you. You and I are no good to anybody dead. I want to say that again. You and I are no good to nobody dead. If what you do brings no benefit, only detriment, it was not worth doing. Again, Dr. Fuller Jr. says, you must understand your situation, understand your condition. If you do not understand it, you make the situation worse. And when you look at the black conscious community, the pro-black power, Afrocentric, when you look at these persons, the only thing I see is worse. You don't see people with wisdom. You don't see people that's smart. You don't see people that can take a snake and use the snake for food. You don't see people who know how to take the poison from the snake and make anti-venom. You're getting angry because I reject your advice and your common sense that I have no control over. That's your problem. I cannot accept advice and suggestions that is rooted or its foundation is found within a fictional type of origin or makeup, because a fictional fantasy answer cannot help us dealing with real problems. Only a real solution can deal with a real problem. I will, though, listen to you. Unlike you will do for me, you will not listen to what I have to say. You will not give what I say a chance, but I will examine and I will listen. So that is why I can respond to you the way I do, because I did not just hear you, I actually listened to what you have to say. And because I was listening, then I can break down and as they say in religion, see what you talk about as food, as spiritual food, and I take that in, then I examine it and I digest it. That's why I can speak to you the way that I do. In religious teachings, and you say, well, if you are not religious, how can you use religious teachings? There is good in all things. We need to know how to take the fruit and throw away the seeds, throw away the core, throw away the stem, cut away the skin if you want, and only take that which is, or what you find nutritional and good. So that's what I do in religion. That is what I do with many of the opinions that I listen to on social media and in the world. But in religious teachings, it comes from this book called the Holy Quran. It says that Allah created us and we began as a clot. And that clot began to evolve until it reached its eventual perfection. See, somebody like me, although I understand exactly what is being said, my problem is, what is perfection? Exactly what is that? What is the criteria of being perfect? But I can understand how we begin as a clot, how we begin as nothing to speak of, and we grow and we begin to evolve into the man or the woman that eventually we become. So I'm seeking to evolve. I'm seeking to grow because I have a sincere desire, and all of you, including Mr. Tommy Sotomayor, all of us, we claim that we wish and have a desire for a better day, a better future, a better destiny, and leave a better legacy for these who are the descendants of slaves born in America, having dark skin, for our people, to better the condition. And there are so many teachings, there are so many opinions, or there is so much advice, because I don't teach, I bring us advice. I don't teach, I bring us suggestions. I'm not looking to seek followers or converts. I don't want you to be the way that I am. I want us free. That's the first thing. All these other things can be dealt with after you secure your liberation, after you secure your true freedom, of which we know, and all of us know, that we don't have. So in order to solve this problem, it must be real. I must grow. And I must remove all the error, all the flaw, all the so-called imperfections out of myself. But that cannot be done if I reject truths. And many of us, we are ones who reject truth. It is simple as that. Again, referencing religious text, it says that the truth shall set you free. So if we as a people have been in this nation physically free since the 1800s, late 1800s, and we have been receiving truth, then the question must be raised, why are not you free? But yet there is so much truth. The church says it has the truth, but the people are still in a slave-like condition. The mosque says that they bring us truth, but yet and still we are in this slave-like condition. Those who scream black power say they have truth, and we still remain in this condition, and I could go on and on. And these things have been tried. What comes from this ministry and what I advise and what I suggest has not been tried. So this truth, we don't know if it will work or not. However, these other so-called truths, and this is where the anger comes from, people have become loyal to these truths. They have failed, but yet and still you want to continue to keep trying and keep going in that direction. And this is a sign of insanity, to believe you can do something and expecting a different result doing the same thing. This is insanity. So basically what I'm saying is that I can accept your truth. Just because people don't like Tommy Sotomayor, they reject your truth. I embrace truth. However, also your problem is when you bring up things that do not pass the criteria of logic, reasoning, common sense being analyzed and investigated. What happens is, although we speak truth, we have these things that can spoil that truth and keep people from accepting that truth because of that error, because of that flaw. And we see that we're not worthy, or many reject what we have to say because of these things. It's like putting a bad apple among good apples. It seems that bad apple seems to spoil the rest of the basket. And this is what we want to try to avoid. Many of us want people to praise us and honor us and call us divine and the honorable. We're not really interested in truth. We're not really interested in curing the illness that have come among our people and us as individuals. I want to say and bring up two things before I close this particular talk. What I noticed about Tommy Sotomayor. Well, first of all, I noticed that I have made many videos placing your name in the title. And yes, I'm looking for views. You put Madonna, you put President Obama, you put Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, and you put girls fighting wildly. You put all these things in titles so your material, your opinion can be heard. So if using Tommy Sotomayor gets me views, then so be it. I am not ashamed. Yes, no big deal. It's done all the time. I have had people that use my name or try to make reference to me, and the people know who they are talking about. So see, there are those who try to be slick. I don't put your name in my title. But the people that you're talking with know who I am, or they eventually will know. So it's the same thing. So let's not try, Mr. Slick stuff. But I noticed with Tommy, you don't like talking about, and I've noticed that you have no videos about domestic violence. I noticed that Caucasian pink people, they don't really speak about racism and racial issues. Most times when you are guilty of something, you don't want to talk about those things. So Mr. Sotomayor does not speak about domestic violence because he's guilty, and you don't want to bring that subject up. And why wouldn't you want to bring that subject up? The reason why Caucasian people and even Mr. Tommy Sotomayor does not want to talk about domestic violence, the reason why Caucasian people don't want to speak about racism and racial issues is because they have done nothing to heal the injury that they have caused. In fact, to my knowledge, Mr. Sotomayor still continues to talk about how he will beat a woman. Caucasian people continue to shoot black folks in the street, discriminate against black people, paint us as clowns and all these other negative stereotypes. Nothing has changed. That's why they don't want to talk about these issues. You don't want to bring that out front because you're trying to paint yourself as this righteous, holy person, and you're not. Until you deal with these demons in yourself, until Caucasian America deals with these demons, until Tommy Sotomayor deals with these demons, then you're nothing. You cannot be taken. You cannot be trusted. Nor can your truth or your advice. And it is also funny with Tommy, and I will say this very quickly. It's funny how he starts beefs and then he plays victim and has this sad face, but he participated in these things and looked like he was having fun. Especially when he loses the beef for interaction, he comes on and put on this sad face. Tommy, you're a funny guy. I hope that you will respond. None of your people, because they don't know what they're talking about. They just blind followers. I want to talk to Tommy Sotomayor and even the racist pink people. Let us have dialogue. Let us be truthful, and let us, if you're sincere, let us try to resolve this problem. Thank you for listening. Jot down your comments. Peace out. Oh, wow. I ended the video too quickly. I thought I had the timer set for 18 minutes and 10 seconds, and I changed it to 19 minutes and 30 seconds. My bad. So we get to spend a little bit more time with one another. But I just wanted to, it makes me smile about how some of these people, they behave. But I like, as a person, his personality, and I respect the talents of Tommy Sotomayor. And again, to him and Caucasian people, if you are sincere, then stop acting as though you're perfect. There are demons within yourself that you need to heal. And when people see and they can feel that you have healed those demons, you will get a better response. Otherwise, you'll be viewed as a faker, a hypocrite, and somebody that is a clear enemy. Now, that's the end.